I like gums hurt. Hello everybody, my name is Natalie Byrne and we are here celebrating 50 Going Places podcast episodes. Going Places is the name of my Patreon podcast, and once a month I've also been releasing a free episode lately. But there's plenty more on my Patreon. I've covered so many topics, such as how to social media without losing your soul, tips for opening a shop, and many, many more. It's been my goal to create 50 podcast episodes since I opened my Patreon, and I'm so over the moon to reach this milestone with you. And I want to give a huge thank you to all my Patreons. Thank you so much for being there and supporting me. And you can become a Patreon today from just £1 a month. We're going to do something really fun today. We're going to do a podcast episode inspired by First We Feast, my favourite YouTube channel, and their hit show, Hot Ones.
Have you ever seen the show on YouTube called Hot Ones?
Hot Ones.
Hot Ones. This show is en fuego.
We interview celebrities but eat violently hot chicken wing.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? For First We Feast, I'm Sean Evans, and you're watching Hot Ones. It's the show with hot questions and even hotter wings.
We're going to have questions asked by you guys on Patreon and Instagram. I haven't prepared the answers. And I'm not that great at spicy food, so I guess we'll just give it a go. And my boyfriend here is going to ask me all the questions. And we've got all these hot sauces, and I don't know what they are.
How are you feeling?
I'm feeling sweaty. No,
Doesn't help that it's also like 30 degrees.
it's a very hot day. But I'm excited because I'm very, very hungry. So let's...
And with these fried chicken wings, we did beautifully ourselves.
You can't really see it on camera.
Okay.
So we're going to start with Cholula.
Chipotle.
Chipotle flavour. Sabor auténtico de la salsa mexicana. Authentic Mexican salsa. How much do you put on?
I think that's up to you.
Ah! Is that a lot?
Okay, question numero uno. Your book Period came out in 2018 and you've described your experience creating it felt like a university project. What do you mean by that?
I think I put too much on my Becca and Kezia, who were the publishers of the book, we just became really close friends, and there was no expectations on like where the book was going to go and how well the book was going to do and what kind of attention it was going to get. So it felt very like a university project when you're just working on something just for the fun of it. Okay, I'm ready for the next one. Frank's Red Hot Wings.
Yeah, so this is like classic buffalo sauce.
I'll do a smaller
You
wing.
have to do it on the side there. It's not mad. You could go more with that, I think, because we like buffalo wings. Well, I don't actually.
Okay, here we go. Ah! That was a lot. Oh dear. I don't think I like that.
That's buffalo. During your time at university, you worked at the lead mill in Sheffield. You've referenced that job has been instrumental to running a business. Why is that?
Customer service. And also in there's been so many times when, oh my god, my mouth is on fire. When, like at my book launch, and I had a queue of people waiting for me to sign the book, and I had a moment of like, oh my god, I'm panicking and like freaking out, like how am I going to do this? What am I going to do? Like a huge crowd of people looking up, and it just freaked me out. And I remembered working at Leadmill at the bar and having so many people to serve, and just went into that mode of like, okay, just gonna get through it and it's gonna be fine. Yeah, but working in a bar is hard, tough. So I learned a lot from that, and I think I grew up a lot in that job. Whew!
How you doing?
I didn't like that one.
You didn't like that one?
I put a lot on.
Okay, what have we got now?
We've got a new one that we haven't tried yet. Aloha. Sun on the beach hot sauce.
I think
I think this is going to be fruity. Oh, it's a surprise. It's surprisingly very nice.
That's really good. Now on to questions from the NGL app. Tips for self-sabotaging and procrastination.
Therapy. For self-sabotage and procrastination, they often can be interlinked. I think you just gotta, with procrastination, you just kind of have to put your big girl pants on and just get to work. Whether it's like Pomodoro method, which you know I do, which is like work for 20 minutes, have a 5-minute break, do that 4 times, and have a long break. And actually, it's a really useful for anyone who thinks they have ADHD or struggles to break that like blank page fear. Just like work for 20 minutes and then I'll have a 5-minute break. They're very helpful. I think with self-sabotage, there's this book called The Mountain Is You. I just finished on self-sabotage and it's really good. I would recommend reading that. And I think really learn about yourself, figure out what kind of self-sabotage you're doing, and then just like work on it.
Okay.
Just do it. Just do it. I think the best way to get through things like that is just to be as inquisitive about yourself as possible. I think that's what's helped me, rather than putting my head in the sand and being like, I'm not going to think about it. So yeah, that book is really good, I think. What would you say about self-sabotage?
I procrastinate a lot, but I find that I only do it when I know I've got too much time to do something. Whereas when I actually have a deadline, you know what I'm like, I like get my head down, but I think I find choosing a time of day that I know I work well at. So I am not good at working late. Yeah, I'm not good at working late at night.
Well, that could be another thing. Is like, I've really enjoyed working outside with you, and it's been like, or just working outside in general. I've been doing this so much of in the summer, which is like, okay, how can I make this as pleasant and enjoyable?
Yeah, I work better when I've got someone else in the room as well. So
yeah.
Okay, let's move on. Raw
What's
kimchi,
the next one? This is the one I'm most excited to try.
fermented.
Because I love kimchi, and the spice I tend to like seems to be on the Asian part of the world. I don't tend to like Latin spice, like anything Mexican.
Habanero.
I could never, but I really like sriracha, and I don't know, I feel like I'm gonna like this. Expectations are high.
I do like kimchi.
I've only had vegan kimchi.
Oh, it's only coming out in very small dots.
That's when you know it's
a bad
hot.
sign. Yeah.
Okay.
It's not like the last one you could just pour it on.
Okay.
Interesting.
It smells hot. I think it made my eyes water. It does only say 1 chili though in terms of spice.
Yeah, I'm gonna go for it.
Okay, maybe I'll do more. And it's vegan, so this one's for the vegans.
I mean, I would assume most chili sauces are vegan.
No, because kimchi isn't vegan, because it's made with fish sauce. Oh, I like it because it's funky.
Fermented capsicum, kimchi.
I can taste the fermentedness.
Cider vinegar. How long did it take you to get to a better place with anxiety, and how did you get to that place?
When? Actually, I think actually the year I felt really good is the year I went full time as an illustrator, because I felt like a lot of my anxiety was like trying to tell me like, this isn't on, you're not on the right path. And I wanted to do something else, but I was terrified, and so I think that was a lot of my anxiety was coming from that. And I think pushing myself out my comfort zone, because it was very linked to social things. But went full time as an illustrator, and I got invited to do things, like got invited to be on a panel, a guest on a panel, got invited to come to events, got invited to be the D&AD judge. Oh my god, that was so anxiety inducing. Going head for how do you say, like going right into it, going towards it, head first into it, is how I was like, oh my god, I didn't die. when I was so scared. And then that, I think, helped me build my confidence. And then it just gave me confidence that, like, oh, if I do get nervous and I do get anxious, it's going to be okay, because I've done things I'm really scared of before. Whereas I think my anxiety was getting louder because I was letting it overtake me. And then, yeah, I think oh my God, I remember doing my first speaking things. I was so nervous. And, like, I remember at my book event, I went to reach for a glass of water and my hand was shaking this much. And I picked up the water and it was shaking everywhere. And everyone said that they...
something out of airplane.
Yeah, I was shaking everywhere to the point where when I picked it up, it was shaking so much that I thought, I can't even drink from that. So, and people in the audience, I said that to them and they said, I don't know whether they were being really nice to me, but they said they didn't notice. So, you know, it's I think that really helped, just doing things that I was really scared of.
Excuse me, Reg.
Did you just do a burp? Yeah, I think that's the answer.
That's Reg
So it
telling
took
you.
years.
Shorter answers.
I think this is a small business. I tried to buy as many hot sauces from small businesses. So we got Long Bottom and Co. hot sauce. It's a man with a mustache with a red stain on it. I think this is going to be really nice because it says we have made the nicest hot sauce. Ooh!
Yeah, that's too tomatoey for me. That's like I've just poured Heinz tomato soup on my...
It's hot though. I don't know whether it's activating everything else, but I'm feeling like it's very hot. Oh my god. Oh. You're not getting how hot it is.
You ready? Another one from the NGL app. How's the situation with your dad? Dementia is so hard to deal with.
It's getting easier. And now we've just recently gotten carers for him. Obviously the help helps a lot. But even just within myself, I feel like way more settled.
Yeah, you so much better than when I first met you.
Yeah, I think I didn't have any boundaries as well, so I was just, I was boundaryless with helping. I got therapy and BetterHelp to go through that and to realise that I'm allowed to have boundaries and allowed to do what I want to. I feel way better now about it. More so because we understand that, like, not to take things personally, that he's ill, and we've just accepted now that things are going to get worse and worse, whereas before I think at the beginning it sort of felt so overwhelming. Our focus is just to make sure to, like, you know, to get enough sleep, and then whatever happens, like, we can't control it.
Yeah.
I think it's a knowing that, like, what energy you give him is the energy you'll get back.
So if you're frustrated with him, he's gonna
give that back to you.
Yeah. You ready? This one, you actually no, I use this one a lot.
Oh,
you don't.
Hot. My mouth is.
Is he on camera? You'll see his look. One of my favourites. Oh. This on breakfast burrito. Really good. Slinky Sketches on Instagram asked, how did you meet your boyfriend? You give me hope that there's healthy relationships out there. Well, I've got other news for you, Slinky Sketches. It's not all sunshines and rainbows.
What? This show is insane!
What was the question?
Where did we meet?
Where did we meet? On Bumble. And do you remember, I think I was, like, really nervous. I was like, I don't want to meet anyone during COVID, like, I don't want to do anything.
But then I was so strikingly handsome.
We were in our, like, 20s when we met.
Yeah, and we had relationship experience.
Both
we
had
knew what to look
lived.
out for. Yeah.
Lived. Stories to tell.
We knew red flags.
Red flags.
Sit your butt down.
What we wanted, what we didn't want. How I'm way better at communicating, obviously, than I was when I was like 15.
How you doing?
My mouth is on fire.
Yeah, and I think we had common interests. Well, like not every... people sometimes think they have to have common interests across everything they do with a relationship. You just have to have the same morals and
Yes.
work ethic and
have to-
some interest,
yes.
obviously, but not all.
The reason why people are unhappy in relationships from books I've read and stuff is expectations from people. Like, our expectation is just so high, or we're not clear about it. And I think letting go of that, for me, has helped me just be happy in all my relationships, like friendships and everything. And that, like, people aren't perfect.
Or people who are younger maybe get into relationships and then they stop doing all the things that they used to do before, or we talk about this a lot, don't we?
Yeah.
And then they focus all of their time on this one person, and then the rest of their life goes in a weird direction, whereas we are very much respect each other's
Yeah. I like my own
time and what we do and the things that are important to us that we want to focus on. Right?
Yeah. It's going to be hard.
You know sriracha, you use sriracha.
I know, but I put like a tiny bit on. Here we go.
Sriracha.
I would prefer to be single than in a relationship where I'm not happy in.
Oh, yeah.
I couldn't be in a relationship and have no friends.
Yeah.
I couldn't do that. Whereas, like, I could be single but have my friends and I'll be fine.
I was on Married at First Sight. It was like, I wouldn't sacrifice one of my friendships for a new relationship or something like that, right?
The person that you're with should want you to have friends.
I don't want you to have friends.
No friends.
Are we ready for the next question? Another one from Insta. Advice for someone really struggling with anxiety and confidence, currently unemployed too.
The worst thing about, I think, being unemployed is that you just have time to think about negative thoughts.
Don't lose motivation and be pushy.
Pushy.
Email, if you want a job at a specific place, email them every week.
Yeah. You don't have to be pushy.
One day they'll turn on and say, you know what, let's just talk.
Well, that just happened to you, right? You applied for somewhere for
I had just got
times.
my dream job, and I'd applied for this years ago when I went freelance, and they ignored me. And then it came back out, and I emailed them again, and they said, yeah, come and talk to me. Talk to them.
Talk to me.
Didn't hear anything.
Come
and
on,
then I
talk
pushed
to
them.
me.
I said, so what do you think? Let's do this. What's going to happen? And now I'm there, and I'm having the best time.
Yeah, so
Like, you got to be pushy.
that is a great lesson that, like, someone can be even rude to you. I've had friends that have been applied to somewhere
Rejected
and
badly.
been rude.
Yeah.
And then that person ended up getting fired for whatever reason.
But then 9 times out of 10, you don't get a response, and that shouldn't stop you
That's
from
the thing, yeah.
emailing them again. It
Yeah.
means someone probably hasn't read it. My first ever job, I interviewed them for a project I was doing, and then in turn they said, "Oh, we'd like to interview you." That was my plan all along, but they didn't know that was my plan.
Yeah. But I think the hardest thing for me, I think when I was applying for internships and things, was like, oh, I don't feel good enough. But I think just being like, okay, you know what? I think some of the best advice I got at that time was like, no one's expecting an intern to be perfect. Like, no one's expecting someone who's amazing.
No, they want someone they can mould.
All they
and
need to see is
teach.
potential. And also, people told me that I got a job. Most of the times when I got an internship or anything like that, it was because they said I was so friendly and warm. That's what everyone always said. You're so smiley and positive. People get hired for so many more things than what their CV says. Like their personality and like, are they willing to do anything that comes to them? Like, how are they going to tackle problem solving? And also, what's their personality like? Because people have to be sat, if you're in an office job, you have to be sat next to that person more than you are your family.
Yeah, so you usually
So it's like you
people
could
who they
be
get on with. Be
amazing, but if you're really difficult to get on with, no one's going to want to hire.
Oh my god, that one looks black.
Sauce Shop. This is a collaboration with Foles, the band. It's chunky.
Oh, that looks almost like barbecue sauce. Sweet. It's got activated charcoal in it. I think that's what's making it black. Which is good for your stomach.
Yeah, it's gonna
Which
be.
actually might lead us on to our next question. How did you overcome your IBS? I'm currently struggling. But don't do this. Surely. It's one.
Yeah, so you know, my IBS was very linked with my anxiety. The first thing I did is I cut out everything, like even caffeine. At the same time, I was going to therapy, tried to eat as healthy as possible. I think as well, like a lot of us have gut issues. They're very linked, like our gut is our second brain. So if there's an issue in our tummy, quite often there can be an issue in our mental health. And the connection between them is...
Well, it's like when you're nervous before an interview and you get butterflies in your stomach, right? It's the same.
It's exactly the same, except you have diarrhea.
As well.
I read the book The Age of Anxiety. That really clicked. But I think it was difficult to read about anxiety because then I would get anxious. So I had to read it slowly, like a page at a time, a chapter at a time. And it had a whole chapter on how, like, soldiers, when they went to war, have always had, like, tummy trot, I think it's called. It was a condition specifically that soldiers would have diarrhea because they'd be pushed to their stress levels. And it goes in about all the science and history on, like, if you do have IBS, you're not, like, it's just in our biology.
This one, I think, because you haven't
Let's
really
go with the
reacted to
hot
the
one.
heat yet, so
I
I think
have.
you... No, but not as much as they do. I think you
That
need
one was quite hot.
You need one where you're going to be, like, crying. So I would be...
You haven't gone for the milk yet.
I'd be, yeah, exactly. I think you need to be...
Oh, I'm scared. My nose hairs are already burning.
This one's spicy.
I don't like it. I don't like it at all.
Yeah, I told you this was hot.
Delicious. Oh my god.
Question from TikTok. What do you use to create your illustrations?
Illustrator, sometimes. But I wouldn't recommend that to anyone who wants to start drawing. I use Fresco on my iPad because I don't know how to use Procreate because Fresco is included in my Adobe Creative Suite. But yes, I would recommend for anyone who's starting to use Procreate.
Dirty dicks.
Excuse me.
Oh, this one's got a tropical twist. World's greatest hot sauce, no brag, just fact. It's habanero, tropical fruits. It's got a sweetness apparently. I think this one
Just
might be.
make it end.
Okay,
The spice is getting worse.
go on, take a bite.
Dirty dicks.
No, this one's really sweet.
Oh, you know what? It's like Tennessee Jack Daniel's sauce. Dirty dicks.
Dirty dicks. Okay, last question is, what's the best advice you have about creativity?
When it came to illustration, what you're trying to say in the work is the focus. Instead of getting lost in, like, colour palettes, the way it looks, like, you know, I think that I always try and bring it back to that. Like, what am I trying to say? Because in branding and stuff, like...
Well, the branding, it's about the story, the big idea, and then...
But everything is influenced by what you're trying to
yeah,
say.
but naturally everything feeds into that, so then you've got a reason as to why something has a colour palette, or
Yeah.
why you've chosen certain material, is because it links somehow to the big idea, the big story. What a nice way to wrap up.
Have you enjoyed it? Mysterious man off camera.
Yes, my favourite one was...
Oh yeah, which one's your favourite?
I really like I like spicy things, so I did like this ultra spicy one, but if I'm not taking that. The Foals one was surprisingly nice, even though it was black.
Yeah.
But I also really liked this Aloha. I like the more fruity ones. That one's not fruity, but that one
can't
is.
see it.
And this one is also fruity, the Dirty Dicks. These two are nice.
Well, there we go. That's the 50th episode done. Thank you for helping and joining me. And that's it. What are we going to do for the next 50th episode, for the 100th episode? I'll do the same again, but make me different hot sauces.
Hotter.
Hotter. Okay, I'll start preparing. Okay, I'm going to go now. Bye everyone, thanks for watching.
Right.
Bye.
You can stop now.
You know how I make it. I boil some apples with the water, put the tea bags in, put a little bit of your peach cordial and some mint and honey. See, I used to make this when I stopped having coffee. I made iced tea in the summer.